Hi, hi, hi. All right. Today's video is Perils of the Third World. I'm joking. It's kind of funky. I'm trying to register to Airbnb, but anytime they call and give me a code, the code doesn't work. But it's my fault, so I have to wait another 24 hours before I try to register again. Let's see how this goes. Other than that, today's video, my dudes and dudettes. I took the last 2 days, 3 days as a weekend. I took it, and what's it called? I chilled, I finished a poem, which awkwardly so is a poem that kind of like ends my relationship to my mom. I would want to read it to you guys, but one of you has to comment, please read it in the next video or something. And I would actually like read it. But if you want, it's on Medium. So my Medium is linked to directly my YouTube channel. So if you're interested in reading it. Other than that, today's video. Non-existence exists to non-exist. I know, but this is a brain fuck because ultimately it kind of like creates a certain realization between you and yourself. Let me proceed. So as long as you exist, then existence itself needs you, which means you are very worthy. Oh, this was a lecture I was watching. This is not a thought of mine. But the minute they said that, the guy that was lecturing actually said that. It kind of like, when something happens and even like there are many cases where like you get inspired, I guess, or kind of like your train of thought kind of like just starts rushing in a certain direction. One of them is where something kind of like pops up that wasn't there and basically just starts consistently just moving a certain path and sewing together a whole lot of things that were in your head. This is one of them. Other ones are where everything in your head kind of like shakes and like whatever sticks after the sifting process is basically whatever is sifted away basically sticks around, basically falls in place, and the rest you kind of chunk away, and your mind kind of does that on its own. So it's fucking beautiful. But let me read it again. Non-existence exists to non-exist. So as long as you exist, the existence needs you, which means you are very worthy. So here, this is not me pointing towards consciousness and kind of like going in the whole realm of René Descartes, where I think, therefore I am. But non-existence exists to non-exist. As in, if there is non-existence, then ultimately non-existence is existence is for it to non-exist. That's it. Non-existence means it doesn't exist. And ultimately, if you look at it from the other side, existence exists for the sake of its own existence. And if we are to reference ourselves in this vast world, let me go at it in a way that's a bit unique to the situation. We're not really special as human beings. Every single one of us, basically, let's just use the term, I don't want to use the term normal, but every single one of us is kind of like a pool of Skittles. It's like a bowl of Skittles. All of us exist in different colors, different shapes, different flavors. We're not really special unless we do something about it. But by God, we're unique. Our entire constitution, our DNA, our characteristics, our perspectives, like not one individual, even two fucking siblings, grow up in the same house but perceive a different environment, right? So that uniqueness is very much to us. And in a way, this kind of like this quote when the guy was speaking really pushed at the concept of because you exist, that means you matter for existence itself. Because if you didn't matter, then you wouldn't exist. And non-existence in itself exists for the sake of non-existence. So if you don't exist, then you don't matter. And if you do exist, you do matter. And work with me. Really consider the possibilities of your existence, right? All the way back to how we kind of like forget the soul coming into the body, man. Just think of the millions of options of basically this, the cells that actually had to reach the egg in order to fertilize it and start creating a human. And on top of all of that, there's a beautiful study about how random the DNA between the mother and the father are chosen. So already the father kind of like sprouts a million random like fucking seeds. And then the mother's egg with one of those seeds kind of like reciprocate and exchange completely different DNA strands. Just for the sake of like, let's see how this goes. A little salt, a little pepper. Ooh, this is coming out nice or something like this. I don't know. Imagine the uniqueness of that. On top of all of that, once you actually enter this world, every single step you take is very much unique to you. And so, if anything, like right now, where I am is very much a privileged position. Regardless of how I see the world and how I self-reflect on myself or on the world, it is very much a privileged position because ultimately I am existing as I'm speaking to you right now, as you're watching me right now, as somebody else is playing music and studying somewhere right now. The privilege of existence itself is what every one of us has. And any way we look at it, the fact that we exist is enough for us to kind of like be worthy, very worthy of anything existence has to offer. Valid? I think the sense behind it is genuinely the fact that we are able to completely explore anything existence has to offer because we're valued, we're worthy enough to exist to begin with. And it's funny because it starts with non-existence because like whatever doesn't exist really just is existing for that purpose, so it doesn't exist. But whatever does exist is genuinely just beyond any comprehension. It's like looking at trees and going like, how do you understand how trees operate? Well, you don't because you can figure out the mechanism, but like a tree is as much an extension of life as we are as human beings. And the difference is massive, massive. Same with insects. Everything here, I'm pointing at like everything around us that exists in this life is basically an extension of life itself. Because at one point there was nothing, or there was like fires, and like then water happened, or water existed but didn't exist in a stable form because it rained a lot, and then it like froze a lot, and like Earth shifted. But eventually, like proper kind of like conditions happened for life to kind of like take its first steps, and since then it's been moving. And every one of us is an extension of that like effort. So we're not really living, we are life. And everything within existence has been deemed worthy of life itself. So ultimately, we are worthy of every single thing that is in existence right now. We can choose it all. I don't think we have the time, the energy, and the basically capacity to handle it all. But I think that's where our uniqueness comes in. Because ultimately, each one of us kind of like coordinates with life or coordinates with his own or her own existence in order to kind of like pick the shit that's relevant to them and encompass it within his own life and within his own existence. further expanding his uniqueness. This reminds me of one of those quotes where I am the sum of every single person I met, every flower I saw, every scent I smelled, every person I loved, and every person that loved me. I am the combination of every person I affected and affected me, or every person that got affected because I exist. It was fascinating, right? Because like every single thing we do, like even the smallest things that we don't take, like it's chaos theory all over. It's just basically like a butterfly in Brazil flapping its wings, or a butterfly flapping its wings somewhere could cause a tornado in Brazil because everything kind of like is connected. And that's our own kind of conscious awareness of existence allows us to kind of like uniquely traverse this scope, this landscape in a way we see fit. So our worthiness is innate. It's a part of us, period. As long as we can breathe and we can move, we are more than worthy. It's a video. Love you guys.